All right, perfect. Nathan, Elizabeth, we ready to get started?
We're live.
We're live.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you all for joining us. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Greg Harmon, and I'm joined today with Elizabeth Yu, our Senior Product Manager for Access Control, and Nathan Qualls, our Senior Product Manager for Video Solutions. And we are extremely excited to get into this. 320 is a major update for Secure IQ. We're really looking forward to taking you through it. I joined Software House when Secure IQ was in its infancy, and it's been really exciting to watch it take these huge leaps forward with every release. And I think 320 is the most impactful release for Secure IQ yet, and we'll kind of cover that here as we go through our session. A couple things I did want to point out before we get into this is, for those that aren't familiar with Secure IQ is a browser-based client, so it makes life a lot easier for you. It's a lot easier to deploy, to manage, and to maintain. What we've been doing is we've been taking the functionality from our traditional clients, our enterprise access and video clients, and we've been optimizing that functionality around the user experience and just making very elegant, simple workflows and delivering it in this new modern interface called Secure IQ. In parallel to that, we've also been building brand new feature set into IQ that doesn't exist anywhere else. So, with 310, we kind of hit an inflection point there, and we started to see our customers adopt it in a big way. A couple questions I did want to talk about really quick. If you're not familiar with IQ, we do have some more materials coming out that are going to give you a broader overview of what IQ is all about, because today is going to be focused on 320. But three questions I always get on IQ is, how much does it cost, who should use it, and how do I implement it? The first question on how much does it cost is, most customers already have Secure IQ and they just don't realize it. So this is another client. So most customers, if you're on version 3.0 or higher, you can start to migrate your operators onto IQ today. It's not an either or. This is not a Band-Aid type approach where we say, hey, you have to move on to this new interface that we've released. We've done this in a little bit more graceful way to help you to move when we've given you a compelling reason to do so. Who should be using it? At this point, it is most operators. We'll talk about some of the functionality in here, but Secure IQ has really come a long way over the last few years, especially with 310 and 320. So most operators, as long as you're not using a video wall or some of that enterprise stuff, most operators can start to migrate, and you can kind of run a mixed environment for the time being. And then lastly, how do I implement this? So this uses a Victor Web Service. It's super lightweight and a lot easier than you think to implement. So Elizabeth, you want to jump through? We'll kind of kick through the agenda, and then I'll hand things over to you. Perfect. So the agenda, we're going to cover Secure IQ major milestones. I'm just going to kind of highlight where Secure IQ has been in our journey, and then I'm going to hand it over to Nathan and Elizabeth to go through some of the value propositions of 320. We're going to do a feature deep dive, and then we're actually going to open up Secure IQ and show you these features live. So we're very excited to do that, and then we'll open up to questions and answers at the end. Perfect. Okay, so for Secure IQ, really, if you look at the journey of Secure IQ with version 3.0, it really focused on the persona of operator that does personnel administration. So if you needed to do personnel administration, creating users, assigning clearances, badge creation, that sort of stuff, IQ checked those boxes. To that point, we have migrated 100% of the feature set and functionality of our traditional client from a personnel admin standpoint into IQ already. So that's kind of where we started off, and then we started to build more functionality around that. From 3 to 310, we had several major releases in between, and by 310 now, we started to see that as an inflection point where a lot of our larger customers started to migrate their operators from using the traditional client into using Secure IQ exclusively. When we look at version 310, we revamped our mapping engine from the ground up. It's beautiful. It looks just like Google Maps. It's just as easy to use. And we updated some very powerful video feature set, video search management, so you could start building cases out. We built a unified health dashboard where you have the ability to go in and see metrics on what's going on with the system, your licensing, You got to see what's going on from a storage standpoint, memory, devices, cameras, readers, controllers, and so forth. And by 3.10, the other thing that was really compelling about it was security intelligence. So we brought in these tools for you to help you understand and make sense of what was going on with your system, all of the noise that access control generates. Security intelligence helps bring all of that into focus for you to understand really what's happening at your sites, and to make sense when an alarm occurs, the context that happens around that alarm, to help you understand whether you should be escalating or de-escalating that alarm. 320, which is what we're going to talk about today, and I'm not going to go too much into the features because we're about to spend the rest of this presentation talking about the new incident management engine, the new reports, the new event management, video actions. But the reason why I think that 320 is our most impactful launch yet is because proactively from the 320 launch, we've actually gone and approached all of our connected partners. So we are extending this beyond the software house ecosystem, the AD ecosystem, and we've reached out to our connected partners with the SDK, and we are aggressively working with them to be able to bring that ecosystem into SecureIQ. And that's where we're at with SecureIQ today. Elizabeth, I'll hand it off to you.
So we are focusing on the 320 for today's presentation. And I think the first very exciting offering that is available for 320 is video specific. Nathan, you are the expert on the video side. Do you want to give us a quick call out on why we should be excited about this?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the anecdote I've used for the past few months is that at 3.0 and 3.10, we had video features built into Secure 9000 and SecureIQ to some extent. It was really an integration approach. At 3.20, I feel we have a full VMS solution now baked into SecureIQ. So everything from video monitoring to video search, investigation, clip management to incident management that we're going to go through today. This is a full-featured video management solution. We've also created a new license option so that if you want a very streamlined, intuitive interface for video only, we can do that as well. So we have an option that strips out the access control side. It's just video focused for the customer that's only interested in video, or the operator user case that's only interested in video. So it's kind of come full circle now, where Secure IQ grew up as is growing into a full access control and video solution. Now we're bringing that back to the video only customer, to the traditional AD customer as well, that wants a new web client. So it's very exciting.
Thanks, Nathan, for that. The second value we want to highlight for the 320 offerings is it continues strengthening the unified positions as a one single platform, because we understand that security teams are looking for a single platform that they can efficiently manage and monitoring the access and the events so they can respond faster. So 320, we always keep this vision in mind. It's not just for 320, but when we build any new features in SecureIQ, we have this unified approach vision in our mind to see how access control solutions and videos can tie closely together to drive the overall situational awareness as a one single platform. So particularly incident management, event management, video actions are the two great examples to demonstrate the vision we are trying to achieve. The data is very important. We understand everybody loves data and intelligence, but the data is only valuable if this is actionable and easy to access. So 320, we completely re-engineer the new user experience on the reporting features to make that more straightforward and easy access by a broader audience. We also continue to invest on security intelligence, the dashboard, as Greg mentioned earlier. This is our brand new suite of intelligence that provides a lot of great insights around your organizations. So we are adding one more dashboard called Operator Dashboard to manage the performance of your operators and your team efficiency. The last but not the least, we also have the SecureIQ SDK available in 320 that allows the third-party integrations to leverage the modern interface of SecureIQ in addition of the legacy 9,000 clients. So they can start managing everything across our ecosystems right into SecureIQ interface. So if we look at 3.20 as a whole, it's more than just the bunch of feature release. It opens new offerings. It has a flexible offerings, whether you are standalone or unified, but also increase the outreach of SecureIQ into the broader ecosystems. With that, let's jump into the first new features in 3.20, which is incident management. So what is incident? Incident is an escalated event or critical situations that normally require human investigation and also normally a kind of like a standard procedure you have to follow because it's a complex situation. So today, the challenges are, many customers have to either rely on some manual process or some third-party solutions, which is not very seamlessly, is not ideal. 3.20 in SecureIQ, we built a native solutions in our systems that helps your operators to manage the full life cycle of the incident to the time when it happened to the time it was resolved. So think about a use case such as, there's an intrusion, there's break-in. It may cause multiple door forced open alarms. And maybe another example is, what if someone, visits your office or campus and got sleep and fall? That doesn't really trigger any security event, but you can manage all of those situations in our incident management tool. So what you can do is for that intrusion scenario, you can link those multiple relevant events under the same incident. You can also create a standalone incident for that slip and fall, which again doesn't really tie to any particular event. It's not being triggered by your system, but you can still manage them from end to end and attach all those images or videos or clips and journals as the proof of evidence for compliance purpose, right? And or for further investigation. You can download those as a whole package that includes all the PDF details of your incidents and all those attachments in a zip file. But also very important thing is you can define specific workflow, meaning that, steps of procedures that you want your people to follow, which opens another, possibility, the workflow builder. So 3.20, we does provide you couple of free options of workflow. So you can kind of like start getting the feeling of, what does that mean? How can I make sure my operators are doing the correct way to handle such situation by, answering all those questions. But for some complex situations, you may want to create some customized workflow, which require an add-on license. So those are very tailored workflows you can build per your particular demand, and you can assign them to specific events. And those workflow builder is very easy to use. It's dynamic and depends on the questions it asks and the answers of the last question. It kind of like differ to different paths. So you always make sure you cover the full scenario of the situation. So this is a very exciting the incident management itself, as well as the workflow builder. Those are kind of like a complete solutions. We hopefully that will bring your security management into the next level. Second feature we want to highlight in 3.20 is the reporting. So as we mentioned, reporting and SecureIQ in general, we are making experience more straightforward, and we are making the data is way more easier than previously accessed. So it mainly addresses the major challenges in the 9,000 today that, it's kind of relying on certain skills to run the queries and, to make some join tables in order to generate that report, which in the fact that it kind of limited the use of that reporting functions in the 9,000 today. And we believe reporting is a very important feature and it should be more accessible by the broader team so that they can get all the benefits of that, of those data. And that's the kind of like the vision we have when we build those like pre-canned report templates, which pretty much cover 80% of the use case around personnel and access related activities or reporting needs that we kind of like interview a lot of our end customers and what type of reporting they are normally generate under personnel, what type of information they want to get. And that's the kind of the, the templates we created. And hopefully that will be easier for you just to generate quickly from the reports from those templates. You can export those reports, and you can also schedule that and to have it automatically send it over to your inbox or others that if you want to put that email address here. This is just a very quick snapshot of what those report templates may cover in what type of categories. So I'm not talking about each of them, but just in a high level, it does cover personnel related information, credentials expired and not active for a certain time. All you can do is just put some parameters there and then hit the button to generate that reports. It also has access related rules and then permissions and who get access to where. The visitors management information is covered under those reports as well. So you know who's expecting to come, who's already visited, and those credentials and histories of audits and all of that. So hopefully this can cover a very, the most common use case of that personnel reports in 3.20.
Yeah, I'll just mention Elizabeth, because playing around with these reports,
Sure.
It was really exciting just how easy it is to just kind of pick it up and figure out how to do it. I was able to kind of click my way through, generate the reports I was looking to create, automate them, send them on a schedule to an email address. Like this is stuff that can be typically pretty complicated to do. And this is one of those things where I just kind of picked it up and I was able to just kind of click through it because it kind of flowed the way you'd think would flow. And then the reports that we have in there, those are from customer feedback. Those are the top 24 most common reports that customers told us, hey, these are what we run on a day-to-day basis. So up until now, you've had the ability to go into IQ and right click on an object like a door or a person and run an audit report or a journal report. And that's covered a lot of customers for a lot of what they're looking for. And then these 24 most common reports get us very, very close to covering what most operators are looking to do.
Yep, great add-on. Thanks, Greg. And we are going to demo that in a second, like how those reports can be easily generated and auto-scheduled. Next new feature is a new dashboard under security intelligence, which we call response intelligence. What this does is we understand the needs from our customers that they want to know how efficient their security teams are, how quick they are responding when something happens, right? So we kind of like come up with this operator dashboard that is around, how fast they respond on events. And there are two kind of like data points to tell the whole story. So the first one is, the first response time. So that happens when the event is active to the time when it's being assigned, versus the resolution time is when the event is happened to the time it's being closed, meaning that people look at it, people investigate, and people close that, clear that. So we believe those are both equally important data points. And think about a complex situation, it may take a longer time to resolve it, right? So the resolution time, it takes longer than you probably thought. But if the team shows that, it's been assigned immediately, right? It's a very short time of assigning the response time, meaning that, oh, we noticed something happened and we immediately assign this to someone to start investigate on it. That still means a very positive signal that your team is efficient in responding when something happens. So this is kind of, the data that we hope that can help you and your team to understand the overall performance in a high level, but also can even go into the individual operators level to understand their performance and the metrics. Right. Next feature is kind of like event and video related, which again, Nathan, you are the expert on this one. Do you want to take it over from here?
Yeah, I'll pick this up. So this is great advancement for Secure IQ. So we've brought the entire event management and configuration suite over from Secure 9000 to Secure IQ. So all that power, whether you're driving actions from the access control side from Doorforce and configuring those type of actions and responses, or now if you're tying video alarms into video actions, that's now possible in Secure IQ 3.20. So being able to offer a centralized, consistent event configuration and policy management suite across the platform for video and access control is very powerful. we're able to trigger those events from a camera, say having a video loss alarm or a motion alarm or a configured object detection alarm coming in from that camera and telling it to trigger an event or directly trigger an action. Those actions from the video side can currently be creating clips automatically, creating snapshots and sending via email automatically, or sending a camera to a defined PTZ position or preset pattern so that you can respond to that, that event quicker. This all ties together with event assessment and then flowing into incident management as well. So great advancement here with event management and the new video actions being integrated. Okay. Greg, do you want to cover a little bit about the new SDK and how that applies to our Connected Partner Program?
Yeah, absolutely. I was on mute, so it helps when I click that button there at the bottom. Thank you. Yeah, so the SDK, I kind of touched on it there in the beginning, but to me, this is one of the most exciting things about 320 is even before 320 was launched, we took the SDK to our 300 plus connected partners. We have about 120 that are kind of our core integrations, and we're aggressively working with them on getting those integrations built into IQ. So they all have them in hand now. Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, it's one of the most powerful things about software houses. Its integrations, its ability to do, biometric provisioning from without having to leave our interface, mobile credentials, wireless locks. So we are engaging, like I said, aggressively with our connected partners on this, and we're proud to announce that we have 10 that are completed and they're in the process of being posted to our support portal and our compatibility matrix that includes Bosch, SureGuard, DSC, DMP, Galaxy, all of your elevators, Kone, TK, Schindler, Otis, our license plate recognition, and BACnet. So we're very optimistic that we're going to have a significant number of partners cutting over here before the end of the year.
Great, thanks, Greg. I'll jump back into some video focused topics here. So for the end of this, the PowerPoint section of our presentation, I'll focus on the video functionality, the VMS functionality, and the video standalone license option of SecureIQ, and how that kind of compares to the rest of our enterprise video portfolio. So we now support full VMS functionality via this new web client. So it's a centralized browser-based management of your key VMS functions: live view, playback, camera health status, and basic configuration. So no heavy VMS needed, where thick clients like Victor might be needed in the past. It really enables your operators to access video from anywhere they can access the corporate network. It also enables what I call just enough VMS. So for that role, for that operator, for their area of responsibility, being able to pair not just the access to devices from the cameras, et cetera, but also the interface itself. If they don't need a piece of SecureIQ, like configuration, or maybe they have the full, access control unified IQ solution, but they don't need personnel management because they're more of a video operator, we can remove those very seamlessly from the interface, so it doesn't distract from their core responsibilities. We also have video-centric dashboards and analytics built into the platform. So whether it's your NVR storage, your CPU usage, your camera online, offline status, that's all available through our dashboards now. The workflow itself, moving from monitoring to investigation to then incident management, is a seamless workflow. Our UX team has really spent a lot of time making sure that you can flow from area to area, from monitoring, directly initiating an object search, getting results immediately, and then refining those searches to refine what you're looking for. Lastly, this is just as scalable as our other enterprise offerings. It covers the need of the distributed enterprise customer very well. For example, customers with a lot of geographically distributed sites where a full let's say Victor client, thick client approach might be overkill. This is a really good opportunity, especially even if you have to have a mixed environment where a thick client might still be running in the security operations center. Can you go to the next slide, Elizabeth? So this just gives a little snapshot of kind of where we've come in this journey as Greg was reflecting on our roadmap at the beginning. This is the core features and functionalities of Victor and Secure as it's progressing in its functionality. We can see that we've already eclipsed the functionality of the legacy Victor web client that's now being phased out because Secure IQ really takes that spot. So those core VMS functionalities are built in and will continue to evolve to a full GSOC enabled client over the next year to 18 months. So very excited about the piece of the journey we've completed so far, and then our commitment to continue that journey throughout the next couple of releases. All right, I'll hand it back to Elizabeth.
Yep. We are excited for the live demo. So let me know if you can see all my screen, which I think you should. This is the Secure IQ homepage when you log in, and this is where you will be landed. As Greg mentioned, there's a lot of features available today in the Secure IQ under personnel and administration, event monitoring, video search. It's all natively built in together. Security intelligence, again, is a brand new suite, starting from 3.0 even in Secure IQ. It provides all 8 now the dashboards to talk about all your system related information that you should be aware. And configuration is something that is more admin related. So if you want to have some deep dives into what is Secure IQ is, we have a series of webinars. Greg, I think it's next month. So make sure you talk with your sales team and get sign in, and so you can have more deep dives into all those great features in IQ. But for today, we are focusing on the 3.20. So let me jump right into the first new features, which is incident management. So think about the use case that your operator is monitoring the events. Something is happening, it's active right now, and you're being assigned to a certain couple of events. So what you want to do is you want to start investigate, right? You want to, before you click acknowledge or clear, you want to see what's going on for those events. You may start looking at assess event. So by opening assess event, and this is how we have the video systems or natively built in together. You can see all those recorded from the timestamp where you can go back to the previous time, or you can watch those in live, right? So this is what's happening right now. So in the scenario, you feel like, oh, this is a door forced open, and it may have some suspicious, break in, and you want to create a new incident. So this is a new in 3.20. It has a new tab that you can create an instance right from here. So it's automatically capture the events details, the names from the event, and then the description you may. In this case, you may say, okay, this is an intrusion, and you can have more description here. And this is the optional workflow. So you don't have to use the workflow if you don't want to, if this is a simple incident. But in this case, that you may want to select a particular workflow. So you may want to follow certain steps. And we have all those system default workflows or any customized created workflows is all showing up in this dropdown. And in this case, let's say I'm using this door forced open workflow, right? And I can set some expiration, do not expire, or by default is 1 year from now. So when I click next, it starts with a couple of questions. So question 1 was this real, right? Is this a real forced open door? And I say, yeah, it is a real, right? Was local police notified? And I say, yeah. You may want to put some particular notes and says, police arrived at, I click next. Was anything stolen? So in my first round of investigation, yes, I did notice something was stolen. And once I click yes, it asks me to describe the stolen items. And I say, okay, Alex laptop was stolen, right? Just put a little bit more details here. And then it asks you just make sure you retest it. It has, it's not, any door broken, any issues, right? So just a simple step, and you may put additional notes here. Then once you click, it's kind of like the ends of the steps of the questions. You can see all those questions here, right? It also captures who created or who added the incidents. So in this particular case, I am the one who created that incident. Maybe later on I'm on the shift, and then Greg comes in and Greg says, oh, let me further investigate on this, and may later find out there was actually, nothing was stolen. It was like a misplaced into a different location. So he can jump in and add it from here and say, okay, it wasn't anything stolen. He just makes some edits from here. And then you notice that once I click no, there was no such a previous question asked me to describe the stolen item, because that wasn't valid anymore, because we said nothing was stolen, right? Then you can save this. You can skip this just by looking at the incident summary as well. So all the changes you made, the edits, is captured here as well. It also can be tracked from the audit reports to see who actually goes in to make that change. So it won't be like Greg just to jump in again and make some random change. Other things you can do, as we mentioned, you can attach those attachments here. So you can attach files, images, as we mentioned, clips, journals, audits. So maybe let me try to add a document here. So say I'm adding a PDF here, and it will be showing under the attachment where you can go in and preview to make sure that I even provide the correct documentation here. You can go and preview here just to double confirm, yeah, that's correct. And then you can continue adding more, like videos from your mobile phone, for example, clips from Secure, journals and audits and all of that within this as evidence. You can also attach multiple events, as we mentioned, right? So in this case, it is an intrusion incident. It also attached with a couple of relevant events. So I want to put them together. So you can do that. So once you did that, it has all those events details to be displayed under the same incident. And again, you can also download this whole into the PDF or CSV. So it will receive a zip file that includes the details, PDF of the details of incident, as well as the attachments. So this is one place where you can log in and create an incident right from an event. But let's say we also talk about the standalone, right? So how I'm going to document that information, because it doesn't really trigger any particular security event. So under IQ monitoring, we have a dedicated incident landing page where all those previously created incidents, including the one that I just did, is also captured here. So you can further add it from here if that's you want to do. And also, like Greg can also comes in to add it from here instead of trying to figure out where was the last event Elizabeth created that incident, so I need to jump in and edit them. He can just simply comes from here and make all those changes, right? Everything is all nicely putting here in the one single place. So that's the place where you can do. You can also create a standalone incident, which will be coming from this add a new button. And this is the example that Greg previously did, which just sleep and fall. It is still open, but this doesn't tie to any security event. So that's why it's empty here. So this is kind of the solutions for incident, and it's mainly used by our operator. But if let's say we want to have the flexibility to create the customized workflow, right, as we mentioned earlier, because I want to make sure we are fully compliant and the people know exactly what to do. So that normally the major users for that is our system admin or the power user, who, if they have the additional license turned on, they will find this place where you can create any new workflow. And again, those four that we show is not available for edit are the four free workflows that we already provided. So without any additional license, all the operators can use this for workflows immediately. And that's what we want to show you the values before you make any purchase decision. So to make sure you fully understand what these features can bring to you, and hopefully you can make the wise decision. So for the sake of time, I want to show you the quick example of the customized workflow I built, just to kind of like demonstrate what type of questions you may be able to develop during that workflow builder. So earlier we kind of looking at the logic questions like yes and no, and we do know that it comes with different paths, right? Depends on the answer. But you can also make things a little bit easier for your operators. Say, instead of asking them, hey, describe what's been stolen, describe what's been damaged, you can give them some predefined options. So in this particular example, right, you can kind of like put in a couple of drop down here, and you can add more if you want, right? Just to easily for them to select instead of typing. So that's the multi-selection question type. We can also make this to be required or not required. So if this is required, then user cannot skip this question before moving to the next question. And you can make this as a short text, or you can, make this to filter or select a particular operator or personnel. So say, I want someone to act on something. So this allows me to quickly select the operators from the list of my operator's name or a personnel's name. So they will kind of like notified the similar way as they are being assigned to the event, so they can take some quick actions on it. So after you do that, you can kind of like preview. So preview means you may want to see what is that experience may looks like once this is a new workflow I built for my operators, my security team. So I want to see if that makes sense for them and what that experience may look like. So I may want to start trying and see, okay, this is the first question. I can click multi-selection, right, and move on. So if I say there's nothing broken, if I say no, it kind of like ends up by here. But if I say yes, it goes with the next question. So remember, we have that logical yes and no path. And this is the short text. I can put some short text here, but moving on to the next one. So say I need someone to act on something, and you want to name that person. So it's easier for them to just kind of like type, and because it's ties to the operators or personnel database in your secure, so it's easily to find that person. If you make this as a short text, it won't be auto-populate that name. This is another thing that people think is very useful, because you can immediately tie this to a certain operator, so they can kind of be notified immediately. So this is kind of the entire solutions for incident management. Anything that Greg and Nathan you want to add on before I move into the next demo of reporting?
No, I'll just say, I mean, what I found most appealing about it was just how easy it was to set up those workflows. Like you kind of click through it like you show, and it's just a little mind node. It's pretty easy to make, what question type are you asking? Where does it need to go next? And then once it's linked, again, you can generate it off of like a slip and fall or from an event in the system. You create it, you attach everything that you need, and then in that incident list that Elizabeth showed, you can click just right click on it, and you can export it. It'll give you a zip file with all the attached video files, everything, in a nice little package to send off to somebody that doesn't necessarily have IQ access.
Right.
So it's yeah, that whole workflow. It's pretty complicated, but we've made it very simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And again, for those attachment and the zip file of thing that you receive from the email, you can send it over to like a law enforcement department, as Greg mentioned, and the people doesn't have to get the secure login in order to read them. Okay, cool. Next thing we want to show is the reporting, and why the reporting currently is under personnel is pretty much as the first release. It's mainly about all the data and reports around personnel and access. So that's why it's currently under the personnel sections. So reporting, we have, as we said, we have those pre-canned and templates, right? And easily you can find there's a kind of like a mark here. If this is a system report, that means it's a system templates. It also shows you what type of database it has been generated from. So it's credential versus personnel, it's visit versus another, right? If you want to know what are all those system reports, because now we only have 2 custom, but in the future you will have a lot. People will generate a lot of reports, but you want to start a ground from the system reports, and this is where you can filter and you find all those 24 system reports templates are here. You can also favor that. So just by click click the star button, then those will become your favorites of the reports. Let's say those are 24. It's a lot, right? And I want to kind of like see some categories. And for example, I want to know who get access to this particular door, right? I want to know that. So we kind of like help you to categorize those reports, and we believe that situation it will require the door database in order to generate that report. So you can naturally go to the door category and find, okay, this template makes the most sense for me, and in my situation, I want to know who has access to a particular door. So I say I want to know who has access to the Dallas main door, for example, right? And then I can run that report. So it's very easily to kind of like generate that reports. And this is again our simulation dummy data. It has 2, but it has more. It could be more than that in your scenario. And you can do a lot of those actions right from here. You can also, oops, you can also add columns to those reports once it's been generated. So you can decide, I want to add more columns here to show more details, because by default, it only shows the major columns, but you can have more to be showing here just by adding the more columns. You can also do some filtering in those reports once it's been created, so you can do that as well. So it's very easy and robust to use that new reporting functions. All right.
And I do love that, like these new reports do feel like a dashboard as much as it is a report, because like a report is typically static, and a dashboard, like you were just showing, if I run that report and I find out who's got access to such and such, the Dallas data center door, and I go, oh, that person shouldn't have that clearance, I can just right click on them right from the report, and then it'll drive me in there to make that change to the personnel record. So I find it, as with most things in IQ, like the logic is built where most things are a right click away. You right click on it, and that even has been brought over to reports, which was pretty exciting.
Yeah. And one thing I forgot to show is you can download the reports, but you can also schedule. So you can make that schedule to show, let's say I want this schedule again ties to your secure schedules. So you can create some custom schedules under your secure systems, and then you can apply them here and put some people's emails, and it will automatically send those reports ongoing to your inbox. So this is another very exciting features that's available in reports. All right, next one I want to quickly show is the events. As we mentioned, the event and video actions is a very, there's a lot of features available under the events just by itself. We are not just moving the current event capabilities from 9000, but we also make it more ties with all the new features in SecureIQ. So one thing you can do is you can customize the events priorities by showing different colors. For example, you can also, in the future, you can also change the range of the score, but it's not right now for 320. You can manage the entire events by importing from templates or adding a new. You can add them. This is also the place where you can also tie those actions with the events or assign particular workflows to those events. So let's say those events, I only want the user or the operators to see this particular workflow. So once you do that, he won't be seeing the whole list of the workflows from the dropdown, which may overwhelm him, but only this applicable workflow is available for him to use. Versus, the actions is something that we know is currently available in 9000, but we continuously build more actions, and kind of like as Nathan mentioned, we tie this with the videos. So you can add any existing actions from 9000. For example, if you want to play sound, you can do that. You can display any viewer or messages when the event happens. And or in this 3.20, you can do the new video action. So when the event is happening, it automatically doing the clip creation or snapshot or PDZ controls start coming in. So those are the new actions that video specific. We also added it seamlessly in our event management in IQ. So again, as we mentioned, not just by bring the things that is available in 9000, we will continuously enhance and adding more video related actions into Secure IQ. All right, so that's the event sections. I think the last one, we have 3 minutes left before we open the Q&A. So I think we are on the right timing. Just to quickly show you the operator dashboard. So again, security intelligence, it has all the 8 different dashboards that tells you all the things that you should be aware around your organization, from the last known location, head count, the occupancy dashboard, and all of that. But this is the new one that is mainly for the operators, like a performance, right? And again, this is simulation. So a lot of those are kind of like go to like a local systems by default. So you won't be see a huge data set here per individual, but in the real case, it will be very well distributed. So you can kind of like drill down into particular operators. But this kind of like give you a very quick snapshot of what is the time distribution, how soon when things are happening, it's being assigned to, right? And how soon it's been, taken when the event is actually been getting closed. And you can also drill down into those the bars and see, okay, I want to see the details, right? So this gives me a list of that information from that bar charts. And you can also find particular operator just to see, I want to know Nathan, what Nathan's been, been applied. So apply here. So you can get that particular data points for Nathan and see, what's how fast he's been assigned and address those situations. So it's kind of like pretty neat, and it tells you the full story about when things happening and to the way it's been resolved. And you can view them in like a table view as well, or getting them to download if you want to like a further filter and do some manipulations on your Excel, or you can view them as a table view and filter from here as well. So I think this is the last new feature that I want to show up here. Anything else, Greg and Nathan, you want to add on? I think we pretty much cover those like 5 major features demos. And SDK is not being available to demo here, but Greg has talked about this. Yeah, so.
I think we're good. I think we're right at 150, so perfect, depending on where you are. But perfect timing, Elizabeth.
We're getting a lot of great questions in here, guys. If you're ready to start fielding some of those, I've been trying to answer a few. If we miss you on this call, we'll make sure that we get back to you because they get stored and we'll get them in a report out. So I know we didn't get, Nathan, we didn't get into a deep dive of the new licensing changes for people that want video standalone. Somebody did join. If that person could send in the questions box who your area sales manager is, we'll make sure that we get that information to you. But where should people find the new licensing information overall?
Yeah, so we've updated the Software House order guide and price list to include a new license option if you're interested in the video-only version of Secure IQ. It really is another system series of Secure IQ. We're calling it the Series K, so it's actually below the access control series. And it's a 0 MSRP part. So all you need is to order that zero MSRP part. It does have an SSA for support, ongoing support, but gets you off the ground really quickly with 10 clients that you can try out, attach them to a video edge, throw on some cameras, and you have a VMS system ready to go. So we'll try to make it as easy as possible to jump into Secure IQ video as we can.
Okay, awesome. For the reports, incidents, etc., will they also be available in the thick client or only in Secure IQ? Understanding that the workflow setup, etc., will be done in Secure IQ, but will the results be displayed in the thick client under new areas?
For the incident management, that is only available for Secure IQ. So you won't be able to see the incident tab in the 9000 if you open the event page. You can do the configuration that ties particular workflow with a incident in the event under 9000, but you won't be able to use the entire incident management features in 9000. So that's reporting, because this is also a new experience in reporting under IQ. So 9000 has a totally different experience.
Okay. I don't know if you know this off the top of my head. I couldn't answer this one. Do we know of any limitations for the reports as far as how many clearances or personnel can be pulled in that report? If that would
yeah, I need to follow up with the devs team on that, make sure we capture that question. So I don't have this on top of my mind. The limits of credentials and personnel records. Okay.
Somebody was asking if Exact VMS is supported in IQ or only AD. So both of our sister brands, Victor and Exact, are natively built into IQ. And then with this new version of 3.20 and the SDK release, our third-party partners are also actively developing to IQ as well. In addition, with all of our internal integrations for elevators, fire, intrusion, we have a bunch of internally owned, it's like 15 or 20, that most are fully developed at this point and just in the final stages of getting posted to the portal. For the door reports, are we relying heavily on our badging operations? Will the report identify where each reader is assigned, including any custom clearances, door groups, or standard clearances? I'm looking to confirm what it provides to complete mapping of each reader access.
Yeah, it will require the reader access. So if there's a no access reader, it won't be able to capture that. So, but as long as there's a controllers and iStars driver and readers, yes, it can be captured.
Okay. Trying to dig through a couple others. This session was recorded. If you joined late, the recording will be available after we finish all 3 sessions of this webinar, along with the PowerPoint. We'll provide that PowerPoint through marketing. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to. Somebody asked if we can configure iStars in 3.20. The hardware configuration is something that's still on our roadmap. We were trying to focus on the day-to-day options in Secure IQ versus the one-time configuration. So the access hardware is still coming in the future. So today you would still do your configurations in the admin client.
Correct. But once you did that, you can view them under devices, under configuration. But I think to answer the question, for 3.20, you are still not able to configure those devices in IQ. And we are working on this for the next release.
What type of file are the maps and how large can they be?
The maps, What maps? Are we talking about the these maps, or are we talking about the attachment of incident?
I think it's probably referring to indoor maps when you're creating a new indoor map, what type of file you can upload and how big that file type can be.
Oh,
So in that regard, it's your standard, JPEG, PNG, DWG, those type of files. Of course, they are rasterized as they're brought into the system. I'll have to double check to see what the max resolution is, but I believe that's been increased since the 9000 map engine. So we should be able to bring in a more detailed map as well. And then on the roadmap, we're looking at more options for mapping, how to bring in vector style maps, whether it's a PDF, whether it's a CAD file natively, or whether it's a GIS database. Those are options we're looking to integrate in the future.
Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, the other thing to note is that we do have a one-way conversion. So if you're using existing Secure 9000 maps today and you're ready to make the move to Secure IQ, you can convert your existing maps over to IQ. You just can't put them back and forth, right? It's a one-way conversion.
that's correct.
Will this platform be able to monitor door alarms such as held open and forced open alarms in real time? Additionally, can it generate notifications or alerts when these events occur?
Correct. It monitors them in the real time. It also kind of like, as we demoed earlier, you can tie specific actions when such live events is happening. Like for example, creating a sound for that, display any messages, or as Nathan mentioned, you can automatically click snapshot of the clips. So all of that is live.
So there's different layouts. So right now she's showing maps. You could, if you have a live event here, you could assign it to yourself, or you could assign it from a right-click action to a different operator if you prefer to work from the map view. Or up at the tab at the top, there's the event viewer, which could be a part of any customized layout that somebody would use, where you're getting the real-time events filtering through there.
Correct. So any active events, it will be showing kind of like a popping up lightning here. And right click, you can view, I may pick the wrong one, but right click, you can view the videos. You can do the video search right from the maps. You can view all those assets and the indoors map as well.
Okay. Somebody was asking if Secure IQ can be used on a phone or tablet. So absolutely a tablet today. One of the great things about Secure IQ and being browser-based is that it has really nice scaling. It also has touchscreen opportunities that you'll see as a modernization from the existing client. And then Elizabeth, I don't know if you can share the good news about the IQ mobile app.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm smiling. So the team is working very actively and is in the wrapping phase of having the first MVP, meaning like 1.0, the brand new Secure IQ mobile app, hopefully in around January next year. So we are actively testing this and wrapping up with some final SSO. Oh, Nathan, you're already showing that. Yeah, we internally testing this, but this is coming, which is also unified, that has all those core access related, access control related, functions and video functions, and that is meant to be on the go for your operators when they are on the way. So it's more to come, and yeah, we are very excited about that.
Excellent. Well, I know we are up to the top of the hour. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much to the team here who presented. We, again, will be working through the rest of these questions and make sure that we get back to you. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.